on, y'all? It's your boy Gibbons here.
And we'll see.
And welcome to the Acromis Podcast Cooking Edition, live in the kitchen today. If you're watching us, you're seeing Will C's cooking up right now. Chef Willie Will in the house, got the seasoning going on. He's getting busy with it. Look, if you're listening, thank you for joining us again. You're probably listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you can hear a podcast on episode 104. If you're watching us, it can only mean one thing. You're looking at us on YouTube, and I need you to do these three things before you do anything else. You need to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so the next time you hop on YouTube and you're scrolling through your feed and you're looking for not only for somebody to cook you up something special, but for some gems for you to take on in your life and apply them this particular week, the Acromis Podcast will be sitting there right there for you, waiting on you to take advantage of those gems. And most of all, we'll see.
Hey, it is free to do so. Maybe not this food, but it's free to subscribe, like our content, turn on that notification bell, share this episode, and I might share this recipe with you. So if you could do all those things, we'd be greatly happy and appreciative of you joining in with us and just having a good old time on this Sunday. We appreciate you. And we want to make sure that you know that you matter. And this is our way of doing so. Each one, teach one. So let's get right into it, brother.
Boom. What a week it has been. We'll see. Just to recap from episode 103, we really touched on how you can control your urges. And I would say this week was a test, right? I mean, we do this every week where we follow up from what we've done in the week, and we try to determine the action that we took based on last week's episode. And we're hoping you're doing the same thing too. So in last week's episode, of course, we talked about controlling urges, and as you guys may or may not know, we are competitive, right? We love winning. We hate losing, but it is just the competitive nature of anything that you're doing that keeps you going, and it keeps you believing in the wins that you take and knowing that the L's will be few and far in between. So, of course, we are busy on FanDuel right now. We are not sitting here being advocates of gambling or competitive financial sports stuff, but we would say that we were very close, very, very close to hitting a 10-game parlay, a 10-leg parlay rather. We only needed a point from Kawhi. We needed another 3 from Steph, or from Klay Thompson, and we needed about a 3 and another bucket from Steph Curry. So thanks, guys. You kept us from winning. You kept us from coming up on this last one. So no hard feelings there, but the controlling urges part comes in because as well as anybody else out there knows, that is heavy into gambling. You might lose by a little. You want to jump right back in. You want to put another $5 in. God, I know where I went wrong. I shouldn't have put him down. Let me slide this 5 back in that account and try it again. Damn, he missed that last 3 on the very last second of the game, but he's going to hit the next one. Let me just slide one in. No, a lot of this is self-control, ladies and gentlemen. So knowing that we have a set amount of dollars that we're working with each and every week in order to put into something like this, and not a dollar more, not a penny more, we know exactly where we're stopping, and we have to be able to control our urges with that. I know for those who are into fitness, of course, we have a fitness side of Acromis. Go follow Acromis Fitness if you're not doing so now. But on the fitness side, when I'm in the gym, because of the regimen that I have now, it's a little bit different than what I've been doing before. And sometimes I might have the urge to revert back to some of my old regimens. And I know I'm preaching to the choir for a lot of those guys out there that you get a little bit impatient with the regimen that you're in now because you may not see the changes that you're looking for. And so you just want to switch real quick. Let me go back to what I was doing, but you got to stay patient, and you got to make sure that the urge that you have to maneuver away from the new regimen that you're on now is put to the side. Because after a while, you do start seeing that progress. You start feeling the gains, not as well as seeing them. So I gotta say, we'll see, putting controlling my urges in the forefront of everything I was doing this week really helped me, in putting it into practice, as I hope you guys are doing too. Really helped to put a lot of things in perspective. It shows that self-control is possible. when you are aware of the distractions and those pitfalls that you might be able to take. You can pull yourself away from that. You could just say no, right? It sounds a little cliche, but it does work. And then you could put yourself on the path to winning, which I hope will be the case for the next time we bet. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. And if I can add anything else to that, it's just just really following your instinct and just staying true to yourself in the process of that. Those urges, you got to just make sure to kind of restrain yourself as well when needed. Because sometimes you may tend to act off impulse with certain things. And it can get the best of you because you're like, well, I'm a YOLO in this moment. And in hindsight, you realize that wasn't the best thing to do. We all do it. And there was no different this week for me, where it was a lot of adversity that I went through this past week. And I had a lot of urges to just kind of handle things, certain events that came my way, a certain kind of way. But I just had to, kind of resist and just stay true to myself and to what my objectives were, my tasks were, and just kind of discipline myself in the moment to be able to get through them. And that's kind of what you experience on a day-to-day basis for the simplest things. Maybe you told yourself today I'm going to drink nothing but water, but you saw that nice cold Lipton iced tea in the fridge, and you're like, you know what? I might indulge a little bit and get my sugar count up. Stay true to your guns, man. You said no, so see it through. This the way you plan about how you handle those things is the key factor of like minimizing those urges as best you can when they come, and at least responding to them. So if anything I can say is just keep that in mind as you move about this upcoming week. And if you haven't had an opportunity to go watch our last episode, please go do so. Has some really good tips in there for you. And if you have any feedback to share after listening to it, comment in this episode below or that one as well. We really appreciate it because we're trying to learn with you too.
Mm-hmm.
And we really appreciate you for those things. Thanks,
Absolutely. Jay. Absolutely. We'll see. Yeah, we can't say enough how appreciative we are of how far you've taken us, guys. And it's really been a great journey. And in order for us to get on this journey, we really had to sit down and think about what the purpose of the Acromas podcast is, but not just the Acromas podcast or Acromas Fitness or anything else Acromas, like the Acromas group that owns all of this. But we had to really understand what our central theme is going to be, because in order for us to be able to deliver value to you, we had to understand what you guys held valuable to yourselves. We had to understand exactly how to talk your language, how to relate to you based on what we are going through in our lives, and make sure that we're funneling that advice to you in order for you to take action on it. And that was a big thing with us from the very beginning, and it is now. It is the action that is required for you to be able to make progress in life. That is the only way you would get anything out of it, right? You get out what you put in. And in order to get out the best, you just have to put in the best. So many times in the Acromas podcast, we talk about the standard being the standard. We talk about how habit building can help you achieve those goals that you're setting, regardless how lofty they may be. We talk about the 21-3 method, which is a strategic plan showing you how to rebuild a foundation in order to get the most out of life in 21 days or less. But with all of that being said, the driving force behind anything that we do would be your purpose. And we always want to start there. And of course, we wanted to dedicate this episode to understanding why life would require a purpose, or at least ask the question to you, does life require a purpose? So for me, we'll see, just taking it back, even in last week when we were talking about my unhealthy relationship with food and nutrition. And I don't want to beat a dead horse per se, but it was really difficult to get through. And I think a lot of that had to do with because I just really didn't know where I was going. I had no direction, right? I was a ship out in the middle of the sea, no compass. I didn't know where north, south, east, west was. And I was just floating, hoping to find an island that I can crash on, or I can at least take a break and reset. But it was not meant to be. There was just nothing there, right? Until I started following my instincts, right? I followed the proverbial North Star, and I tried to find my way home again. And the only way that I was able to do so was the belief in myself and what my purpose truly was in this life, or at least what I believe my purpose was at that particular time. And that purpose would be to be here and help others achieve and grow from their worst sets and from their worst stages in life. And because I understood what that felt for me and what that felt for others who were in my life at that time and even now, I knew that there would have been a path to get through that, right? So using Will C's story that he had, is very emotional, impactful story that you can find in the 21-3 method. I knew that I had to be able to tell his story as raw and as passionate as I possibly can. So when we were creating the 21-3 method, I had to dive in. I had to be the one to ask the specific questions to truly understand what he had to go through. And even he had to dive into that emotional state that he was in for so very long to understand exactly how far he has come now and the work that he had to put in to get there. So knowing that there was that ability there for me, and knowing that I had to be here for my wife, for my future children, for my godchildren, for my nephews, my nieces, knowing that there was a reason to be here. I knew that there was somewhere that I could now land. There was somewhere that I knew where I was going. There was a reason to keep fighting, to keep inspiring, to keep providing sage advice that you can take and use within your life. That is what got me going. So now, because that is the central theme of my life, it allows me to bring everything else around that, so that everything that I do is associated to my purpose. There is a reason behind my actions now, rather than doing whatever I want to, whenever I do. And for me, looking at the difference between my life without that purpose and my life with purpose, it's night and day. Which is why, asking the question, does life require purpose? At least for me, it does. Because when I did not know why I was here, or at least I didn't have an inkling, right? As I mentioned before, I could have a different purpose when I'm 40 or 50, especially if I'm able to achieve the purpose of helping so many people around this world be better because of what they've gone through, to be able to see that light, to be able to grow from what they've been through. If I'm able to say I have achieved that, I have fulfilled my destiny there might be another purpose for me. There might be something else where I'm being somewhere else that I'm being called to serve. And wherever that might be, I will go towards that. But I think for me, we'll see, it was the knowledge, it was knowing that there was a purpose to be served. It was knowing where my particular fit in all of this is, right? Where was that missing puzzle piece that I needed? I was able to insert that, and now I'm able to take what I've learned to get to that point and help others get to that point in their own lives. So I think using an avenue like the Acromis podcast, or everything we do with Acromis in terms of building that foundation for you to restart your life, that walks hand in hand with my purpose, we'll see. And for me, I think that's exactly it. I do truly believe that life does require a purpose, but we'll see. I'd want to turn it over to you to get your take on it. Do you believe that life requires a purpose? And how was your life without understanding what your purpose was versus how it is now?
Yeah, I think for starters, I'll agree with you and say absolutely. I believe life does it. I think what happens is it formulates a purpose throughout your experience. If you're willing to allow yourself to uh, truly embrace what it is that you're going through in your life, and you know, identify the direction of where you want to go. Uh, Again, those experiences ultimately help to define that purpose and ultimately who you are along the way. Now, as you mentioned, which I thought was really awesome, is the fact that your purposes may align and may adjust and change depending on your direction as you continue to grow through life with wisdom and time, right? That's attained through your experiences. Those ultimately are going to decide, what you do. So, like for example, I believe, you don't automatically come into the knowingness of like deciding I'm going to pursue this or I'm going to do that, and oh, I know this is calling, as you would hear people say. Again, I really think it's those experiences that you have, albeit what you consider good or bad, that helps to define who you are. Hey, I'll give you a simple I'll give you a simple one to think about. Think about Batman, right? Look at the concept and the story behind that, and if you're familiar with it and know like what formed in his life to become who he had become. Wasn't initially the plan for him. He didn't know who he was going to become, but he learned what his purpose was, or what he chose for it to be, rather. And ideally, that's what we do in life. We kind of figured that out. And I know for myself, for a long time in my life, I had no idea what I truly wanted to pursue, or what my passions were, and what my callings could have been. I've always been talented in different areas. I lacked the confidence to pursue them because I didn't believe enough in myself. And it's an interesting feeling when you have those around you who believe more in what you're capable of a purpose that you can serve than you do. And for a lot of years, I just kind of let myself wallow on autopilot because I just didn't think that I mattered. I didn't think that I was good enough. I didn't think that I could be better. I didn't think that my voice could make a difference. I didn't know it did in the lives of those who were around me, that in a lot of ways may have saw me as a leader. And I just didn't believe in myself enough, in my inner truth, in those quiet moments to know that, I could do better, be better. And I did have a purpose I could serve too. Rather than just, existing, I wasn't living. So through experiences, it kind of manifested itself that, hey, you know what? I am good at these things. I am good with being able to elaborate on my experiences and what I've gone through in my life, and to share that with others, to hopefully be a beacon in their choices and decisions that they make. And ultimately utilizing my strength of encouragement and empowering for others to be better, to harness their truths, and to do better. And ultimately, it helps me grow too. So, being able to have a platform as such, as we do, and what we've put into the growth of it with all of your help, it's a beautiful thing, because it wasn't something that I knew with certainty. We didn't know with certainty, but it is something that we have strived for a long time, man. A decade plus of discussions with the idea of kind of stumbling upon, I feel like there's something we could do with this, something more we could provide to the world, knowing that we just wanted to do something good and something better. And it took for Jay and myself to grow as young men, to kind of identify our own direction, our individuality. And we both been through our experiences, our ups and our downs in life, but together, and we've grown. So when the opportunity came knocking for us to be ready for this, we were. We didn't know we were, but we had to like learn, as we still are, the process of what this is, but like knowing for sure with certainty that this is a part of our process in life and our purpose, more importantly than anything else. So we are serving to that, which allows us to maximize and give 100% every single time, which is why we believe you guys appreciate what we put out there, because of that, the authenticity of knowing that we're not speaking out of our rear ends. We're speaking from our heart. We're speaking from our soul. We're speaking from experience. And we're able to give those gems that are impactful that you feel as well. So I do believe that purposes in life is a necessity to have that direction, or you'll just kind of be lost throughout the way. And I don't wish that for anyone. I do believe everyone has the ability to find out what that purpose is, but you have to search it yourself. Maybe analyze your experiences and your journey along the way, so that when you recognize it, you start taking the steps necessary to pursue it. And then ultimately your purpose typically serves for another in some way. So I do agree with you that a purpose, in life, you come to learn what your purposes are, because I believe you have more than one, but you come to learn what they are through your experience and your willingness to humble yourself, and your willingness to grow and identify.
Hmm. That's huge, we'll see. And I do want to take a second and even go back to the Marvel movies that you mentioned. Well, at least for DC Comics when it comes to Batman, but even on the Marvel side too, right? Let's use Iron Man for an example, right? We saw his growth through all the movies that he had, and then it kind of came to a head in Endgame. I'm pretty sure in his mind he knew that he was going to save the world, but he didn't know that he would have to pay the ultimate sacrifice to do that. So that, that goes without saying that his purpose was still fulfilled, but it literally took his entire being to fulfill that. And along the way we'll see his purpose change, right? He built a tower, he built this suit. He's like, all right, I feel like I'm getting closer here. And now he's teaming up with the Avengers, and they're trying to save the world as much as they can. But he's like, God, there's something else missing here, right? Then he comes to battle against, Captain America, and they go through a little bit of drama there, and now they have this central enemy in Thanos. And after that's all done, it's like he realizes that this is going to be it, right? There's only one way forward, right? And I mean, it even came to a head when Doctor Strange mentioned, look, there's only one way this ends, right? And it ain't good. But his destiny in the end was fulfilled. He needed to grow from when we started understanding what Iron Man was, the cocky, the brash, arrogant, rich guy, to somebody who is literally laying his life on the line for all of humanity. I mean, you want to talk about a character coming full circle, right? I mean, you are the main character of your own life, right? So I think it's important for you to understand what coming full circle means. What does that look like to you? How can you come full circle in your life? How does that growth look like from the first day that you realize that you might be onto something to where you are now, right? I mean, when we started, we were all over the place. We were way out here. But as we started getting further and further in our path, we started seeing that tunnel get a little bit tighter. And that tunnel vision was just straight. And now we know exactly where we need to be in this space in order to serve you, in order to help you understand what your vision might be for your own life. Now, we're not always going to be right, right? We are going off of our experiences, and your life is your life, and we can't tell you how to live it. What we can do is advise you how certain things may help you get to where you want to be. And that is the biggest thing with Acromis. That is the biggest thing with us, is to help you understand that you must build a foundation first, and only you know where that foundation is. Only you know what that foundation would look like once you build it, because you would understand what your purpose would be in the particular season you are in now. So it goes without saying that yes, life truly does require a purpose, and it doesn't necessarily mean getting rich, laying on a beach with a laptop because that's all you do for work now, taking your cell phone out and going through your 5 or 10 car garage with your Lambos and Bentleys and Rolls Royces in a house out in Palm Beach, Florida or something. It doesn't need to be that, right? For me, it's peace. It's knowing that we are able to help others, and to be able to serve the purpose that way through Acromis. That is what really is fulfilling. And I can only speak for those. I can only speak for myself out there, and knowing that those who are watching this will be able to understand that it is really up to you to determine what that purpose is. You don't need to go through social media. You don't need to listen to your friends or have envious thoughts from others that you may not even know. I think it's important that you understand yourself. Take the time to learn more about yourself. Take some time away from social media. Take some time to meditate. If that doesn't work for you, take some time to do deep breath exercises. We talked about the 4-4-8 breathing technique, where you're breathing in for 4 seconds, you're holding for 4, and then you're exhaling for 8. You do that 10 times, and you can literally feel yourself becoming more calm. I lie to you not. If you don't believe me, do it after this episode and you'll see it. But it would allow you to really tap into that other side of yourself, the side that's telling you to slow down, take this all in, try to really understand where you want to be in life, try to understand what makes you happy, and then pursue that. I think a lot of us, especially those who are on the younger side, are really looking for that person to really give us that direction, to be the spokesperson for our lives. And you don't need that. You need yourself. You need to listen to yourself, understand who you are, because you are the most important person in your life, and you need to put yourself first. And it requires all the time and energy in the world to do so. But I'm telling you, that is the biggest investment that you will make in your life. You don't need to invest in a $49.99 package from somebody who does not know you, right? They call this personal development. They call it self-help. Well, self is in the title. Personal is in the title. It's you. You must help yourself. The only thing we can do is give that advice. The only thing we can do is allow you to take the nuggets that we pass on to you and apply it to your life so that you can build a strategy. So that you can say, hey, we'll see, Jay, this didn't work, but this did. Let me try this a little bit more, right? It's all about experimentation. It's all about living. It really is. And we truly believe that you start living when you start understanding what your purpose is. And if you have, we all have multiple purposes, but make sure that you're focusing on that one that you truly believe now will get you where you want to be. So, of course, it goes without saying that because we are a community that's growing, because we are a community of like-minded people who are looking towards goal setting and habit building to help us create the life that we want to live, we want to turn it over to you now. What is your purpose in your life? That's a big question, right? And you don't need to answer it right now. You don't need to go down in the comments once this video is posted to answer that question. It requires deep thought. It requires meditation. It requires weeks and months of trying to figure out exactly who you might be, exactly what you might bring to the table. What can you provide to this life, to this planet that we're all living on? How can you make it a better place? How can you make your home a better place? How can you make your workplace a better place for yourself? How can you make the life that you're living a better place? The best response that we get will not only be featured on YouTube in a short, but it'll also be featured on the next episode of the Your Chromas podcast. Again, I want you to search deep inside yourself to find out what that purpose is. And I also want you to search through YouTube to see if there is another podcast out there that is doing this for their community. I challenge you to do that because I know there is not one. I know there isn't one that'll allow you to have a voice, for you to step onto a platform and speak your own truth to the world, to have that platform and use it to be able to help yourself grow and others who are in the exact situation that you are, to help them grow too. So take this time to sit, to really think, to meditate on all of this, and to come back and really understand what your purpose is and dive into it head first, because there's no other way to approach it.
Yeah, well said. I couldn't have put it any better myself. I totally agree with, sometimes taking a step back to reevaluate where you are in life. And, with social media and our day-to-day tasks and responsibilities, it can become distracting.
Mm-hmm.
So you yourself occasionally to do that, to kind of take a moment back, to recharge yourself a bit, recharge your thought process, to really ultimately your outlook and perspective on where you are in your life and where you're trying to go. So do those things. Carve out that time for you. There's 24 hours in a day, enough time to make some time for you. Do that while you have it, because time is a luxury for the waste. So correctly, use it wisely, and use it to better you.
Amen to that, brother. I feel like we got to put that on a shirt. Time is not a luxury to waste. Whoo, that hits, man. That hits. And all these gems that we always talk about every week hit too, man. So we want to thank you for joining us on the Your Chromas podcast today. If this is your very first time listening to us, we welcome you. We hope that we are able to at least provide some type of direction for you to understand what your purpose might be, and to give you some gems, some action items for you to take into this upcoming week and apply to your life in order for you to see the results for yourself, because they will be there. If you've been here before and you still do not know what we're about, I'm feeling pretty generous today. We'll see. So I'll spell it out for them again. ACHROMOUS. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you can hear a podcast. If you are watching us, that can mean one thing and one thing only. It means that you are watching us on YouTube. And here are the three things that I need you to do now if you did not do that at the beginning of this podcast episode. I need you to hit that like button. I need you to hit that subscribe button, and I need you to hit that notification bell. So the next time that you hop on YouTube and you're looking for a podcast that will help you understand exactly what it means to have a purpose in life, you will find episode 104 of the Achromas podcast. And most of all, we'll see.
It's free to do so. And why would you where else? It's free to get all these gems. Subscribe, turn on that notification bell, share our content, because you know we're always cooking up some gems for you. Ha! Get it? We're cooking. So doing it right now. So make sure that you can do those things for us. We greatly appreciate you. Keep rocking with us, going on this boat, in this journey of life. And we can assure you the best of you is yet to come. And we'll continue to remind you each and every single week of how much you matter.
Absolutely, we'll see. And on that note, enjoy the rest of your week, ladies and gentlemen. Until next week, it's your boy, J.H. Gibbons.
And we'll see.